So in today's video, we're going to be doing something different. We're actually going to look at a player that I faced in solo queue myself. Now, why are we looking at this player? Well, basically lately I've been climbing a bit myself. I've been grinding a little bit myself, and I got to like 3 games away from being grandmaster. And during that climb, I encountered a player called Kropashi, or however you pronounce it, the Jace in this game here that we're going to be looking at. And most of the times I am able to like make a very big difference in the laning phase. I feel it's one of my stronger features right now. And what happens is that this Kropashi, I played multiple times against him, and I won games and I lost games, but the constant that I saw was this player, even though he was losing or was winning, doesn't matter, he was always playing good, right? Always had a good KD, had a good impact onto the map. So basically, it is already established this is a very good player. He's almost a grandmaster at the point of making this, at the time of making this video, and he has about 60% win rate, so he's quite a good player. We already established that. Now, I was looking throughout his match history, and I saw this particular game with Jace, where basically he was struggling a lot, and he went like 0-8-0 basically. And I'm not here to put this player on the spot. I'm here to... I was basically wondering for myself, like, what could go wrong? We all of us have bad games. And I was like, this player is so good. If he has a bad game, why would that be? Maybe there's maybe there's something I can learn from him. Because if this guy is having a bad game, then I probably would have a bad game as well. So I'm going to look if we can fix it for him, if it's obvious mistakes, or if it's something that I can truly learn from, some new things I didn't know could happen to you, or I don't know. But basically, I want to find out why this good player went particularly quite bad in this game. And hopefully you guys can find this out together with me. So let's see, I'm going to fast forward the game a little bit here. We're going to look at the very laning phase. Now, I do believe that I scrolled like through the game, and I saw at some point that Jace went, so the Jace player here went from mid to top lane. And at that point, the entire game just becomes like a mixture of shenanigans. So at that point, we're just gonna end the video. But we're going to look quite in depth here in the very early stages. What he could have done better, or what he could have done differently, or what basically screwed him up. We're going to try to analyze it for him. Because I'm very curious why this player that's actually really good and that has always been consistent in my games when I'm playing against him, why he's currently struggling a lot. So let's see. The first thing I notice, let me put a vision here on Jace as well. So basically, the first thing I notice is we're playing versus Lee Sin, and we're having Lilia. Lilia is not the best early game jungler, whereas Lee Sin is. Lee Sin and Annie, they can have a very good impact, very good duo in the early game, right? To roam onto the map, impact the map. Now, if you're playing against Lee Sin, first of all, you already need to be careful. I would already place a ward here at like 115, because Lee Sin likes to start red buff, and sometimes there is a risk if you're facing Lee Sin that he does like red buff into mid lane gank. So just to prevent that, I would place a ward here to get that intel, like right here, to get that intel, and then like hover this side of the map, probably. Or if I have vision here, if you put a ward here, you could actually hover this side of the map as well, because then when he comes like this, you see him. And then basically have a side to hover to, which could be very useful. That is the first thing I would pay attention to. Now, another thing, and let me go back here a little bit, this is going to be a very big concept for all of you guys. And basically what I see here, because we're facing a Lee Sin, let me make it very simple for you guys. Because we're facing a Lee Sin, what do Lee Sins like to do? They like to gank at level 3, right? When do they get level 3? Well, quite early into the game, right? So basically what you want to do on Jace, you could do, for most mid laners, it's very nice to do a 3-wave crash. It gives you multiple advantages. It gives you priority in the lane. It gives you the opportunity to do cheater recall. It gives you the opportunity to put some deep vision onto the map. It gives you the opportunity to poke the enemy in the turret. All that stuff. Do we want to 3-wave crash? No, because by the time we do a 3-wave crash, we might actually get ganked by Lee Sin, because he likes to do level 3 ganks. So in this situation, as Jace, I would look to do a 2-wave crash, and meaning you need to push a little bit faster than a 3-wave crash. So in order to really make sure that I can do that, I would walk up all the way to here to see if Annie is standing here. If not, I will already, standing here, I will already try to get a couple of last hits on the minion wave. This way, I already get priority on the wave, and that's very important in a range versus range matchup. Annie versus Jace, both range champs. So it's very important to do that, because what that allows you to is that whenever you're pushing towards your opponent, you can, like, the opponent has to make a choice. They either push back so that you can't shove in the wave and that you don't get priority, or like, and can like recall and stuff like that, or like put vision and all that stuff, or they can attack you. But if they attack you, then you can shove in the wave. If they attack the wave, like if they use their abilities and auto attacks on the wave, they cannot attack you and you get free poke onto them. So basically it's a lose-lose situation for them. They already have to make a choice. They have to limit their options just because you have the push advantage onto them. So that's why I really like to do that. So then in this case, we're playing range versus range. We established we want to push. Then all that's left to do is, do we want to do a 2-wave crash or a 3-wave crash? Well, based on the jungler here, I would do a 2-wave crash so that we are not vulnerable on a level 3 gank by Lee Sin. Because if we do a 2-wave crash, the wave is going to bounce back in our direction. Then we can just play safe and basically prevent getting ganked by Lee Sin and look to freeze the wave here, or at least be temporarily safe and then clear the wave, right? That is my intention here. That would be my intention here in this game. So that's already to my surprise. Jace is not attacking the wave, didn't even walk up, didn't even try to do it. So he's just basically matching the wave clear here of Annie. That is my first surprise. So the fact that we didn't ward early, that's fine. But the fact that we're not pushing, that is my first surprise. So I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. He's also, you see, Jace is right now, suddenly he decides he wants to get like lane priority, right? Because he's using his abilities on the wave. It's like saying, hey, you basically tell the enemy mid laner, hey, I'm just using my abilities on the wave. This mid laner right now thinks, okay, he uses abilities on the wave. There's nothing in my wave to attack Jace. So that's exactly what's going to happen here, right? So you see Annie gets a favorable trade onto the Jace because Jace uses abilities onto the wave to establish wave priority. But like I said, he didn't need to do that if at level 1 he walked up to the beginning of the lane and started attacking the minions. This way he would have already had lane priority and didn't have to like use abilities afterwards. Now, what I'm saying here, you can't always do that. If Annie at level 1 was like standing here when Jace walked up to like attack the mini wave, the same thing would happen. He would auto attack the wave and he would like use abilities and auto attacks on Jace. So you can only do that, you can only look for that like to see if the enemy laner is like standing there or not. If the enemy laner is like standing here, for example, then at level 1 you can go for that. In this situation, Jace could definitely have done that or try to do that at least. And now like he's trying to establish lane priority with like abilities, and then Annie gets favorable traits. Not ideal. So, okay, so also since we didn't push too fast, or like since we pushed like too slow basically, we got level 2 at the same time Annie got level 2, which is not ideal because now we cannot abuse the level 2 versus level 1 power spike, right? You don't always need to use that power spike to like trade very favorably with your opponent, because in this ELO they might respect it. But at least you can zone them off a couple of creeps, right? And now we didn't have that opportunity. Also, now we're not pushing fast enough, because look where the third wave is. This is going to be the third wave here in the game. And now we're in a bad position, right? 2 minutes 30. And what happens is basically it takes about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, sometimes with very fast junglers, 2 minutes and 20 seconds to clear an entire side of a jungle. You see that with Lilia here as well. She cleared her entire jungle, and now at around 2 minutes 30, she's on this side of the map. That means around that time, a lot of junglers who are like Lee Sin, who don't want to full clear, who just want to do like 3 camps, they are looking to gank. That's exactly what I mentioned, why I wouldn't even like to do a 3-wave crash, because even if we pushed a wave in here, Lee Sin could still have come, right? But now, since we pushed way too slow, we didn't even do a 3-wave crash, now we're super vulnerable to a Lee Sin gank. Now, if you look at Lee Sin, he cleared, he's obviously Lee Sin, so he didn't clear super fast. But like around 230, 240, he can be on this side of the map. And basically what he could try to do is keep on walking like this and looking to gank the Jace here, because Jace is in a bad spot, right? All of that could have been prevented by doing a level 2 wave crash under the enemy turret, and then it just bounces back into the Jace direction and he can just look to freeze, right? This is why I tell you to do 2-wave crash over 3-wave crashes if you're facing junglers who like to gank at level 3, like a Lee Sin, a Sylas, Echo, Elise, like stuff like that, right? So let's see here. So now Jace is just like, he's in a very awkward spot here. He has no vision of the Lee Sin. So if you put the vision on Jace here, we have no vision of the Lee Sin. Still didn't use our ward, right? Now we have no vision, so we should have at least put a ward here, or like here, so that at least we can hover aside. But yeah, so now we don't have any vision on Lee Sin. So now it feels very awkward, right? We're in a overextended position. We don't know where Lee Sin is, so you can't really walk up if you're the Jace in this scenario. So this feels very, very bad for the Jace right now. He tries to shove this in. He's very greedy here right now. And look, it doesn't work out because, again, he needs to be so safe that he can't continuously like keep on pushing. And because he can't continuously keep on pushing, he can't shove in the wave, right? And now the wave is permanently here, which feels very bad for Jace. And you see, at this point, like he can't really walk up. If he walks up, he can die. So he's not really walking up here, and he's losing quite a bit of CS here, right? So this is not ideal for the Jace. Now, we saw Lee Sin bot lane just a little bit ago here. So let me speed this up a bit. So here we see Lee Sin, right? So now Jace can walk up to try and crash this wave. However, the next wave is already here. So again, it does not crash, right? So now this is a very awkward spot for the Jace. Again, he can't recall here. I don't know why we go back and don't recall. We can't recall because we will lose a lot here, right? Just get out of vision for the Lee Sin. But if you see Lee Sin like this here, you don't necessarily need to go like this to your turret. You don't need to hide here. You know Lee Sin is bot side, so you could actually stand in the river and this way or like here. And this way you can still play quite aggressive and like shove in the wave, but you cannot hover here. Like backing down to here is not good. You can still be aggressive knowing Lee Sin is like from the bot side ganking you maybe. But then you need to position here, or if you're pushing all the way under the turret, you could even position here and walk away like this, right? So that is another mistake that I see from this Jace right now. So again, he's not in a very good spot. Annie is roaming. It's not ideal for Annie to roam because her wave is pushing away from her. That's quite bad on Annie, her behalf. So now Jace, all he needs to do is basically last hit minions. Because Annie is losing a lot, you see. All the red minions are dying. Jace does get surprised a little bit by the Annie, but that's fine. It's not like a very huge trade. So let's see what happens here. So now Annie pushes in the wave. And like I said, just because Jace never could walk up to the wave, like he could never like push in the wave, now the wave like bounced back ultimately towards Jace's side, and now Annie can recall first. What is that going to do? That is basically going to screw up Jace's game. Because now Annie gets to teleport, right? And now what Jace wants to do, before he teleports, before he recalls, he needs to shove out this wave, the red wave, under Annie's turret. Otherwise, if he backs and recalls right now, he might lose a lot of CS if Annie just like decides to last hit minions. Or even if she crashes in the wave, he might still lose a couple of minions. So ideally he just shoves in the wave here. He can't. He already sees like Annie is already standing here. He can't. He has no mana. So what does he need to do right now? He decides to back anyway. Okay, he decides to back, but what is the downside of that? Annie knows Jace has teleport. So what does she do? She just pushes in the wave and now she can move. Right? Ideally she takes the next minion wave, but if she really needs to, she can already move. So we're going to see what happens. Yes, she does take this minion wave here. Okay, so she does get the shove here. Why does she get the shove? Because Jace did not... So the ultimate reason why Annie gets to push here and gets to roam to the map is because at level 2, Jace... Jace didn't do a two-wave crash. So that way he was in an awkward spot. He could never walk up. Annie was in full control of the lane. Ultimately, the wave pushed towards Jace. She got the first crash, or she got the first recall. Teleported back to lane, and she got to shove the wave out first. So now Jace is here, stuck killing these minions. And now here we're gonna see on the bar, we can see it. 2 kills for Lee Sin, right, on the enemy bot lane. And I have a feeling that Annie is going to help with that, right, because she gets to move onto the map. So if you look at Twitch here, Twitch and Emilio are moving. I don't know why they're moving. They don't have priority, like the wave is still in a bad spot. They should have pushed this in. They can't really move here onto the map. Maybe it's because like they think Lee Sin is here and they try to like get some vision or do something here. I don't know. They should actually push in this wave. Let's see. Yeah, Annie is in this brush because he got like an exclamation mark. Yeah. So Annie's in this brush. They end up killing Twitch. A little bit Twitch's mistake as well. And now they might end up killing Milio as well, right? And I'm not saying that all of this is Jace's fault, right? It's actually, I don't know why this Twitch even moved up to this. It doesn't make any sense. But then on the other hand, the reason why, like if you go back here and we put the vision on all, the reason why Annie could be in this brush here is because we, as the Jace, had no priority in lane, and we kind of screwed up by not doing the right wave mechanic in early game. Now Annie gets to like get all this priority. They kill Twitch, they get his cleanse. Now Milio is dead here as well because they killed Twitch and now she can't escape basically. She's all by herself. They kill Milio and they get the Drake because of it. And the game was already out of control, but now it's a lot more out of control, right? And now it's 7 kills to 1 and the enemy team gets a Drake. And basically the only thing they had to do is make sure Lee Sin couldn't get a lead in early game and the game would look very, very good for Jace's team. But Lee Sin did get a lead, right? And part of that was due to Jace not having the right wave mechanic. And that is what I see right now. And this is basically not what I expected. I expected the Jace to play a little bit better, maybe, like in terms of concepts and like in terms of wave control. Now, he might have had his reasons for what he was doing. I don't think he had the right reasons, though. But like I said, this is a very good player. A very good player, almost grandmaster with 60% win rate. Those are just good players in general, right? I played against him out of personal experience. I can tell you he's a good player. I'm not here to put him on the spot. I wanted to find out why he had such a bad game. Maybe I wanted to analyze it and I thought might as well record it and maybe find some things out with you guys. It does look like he just had maybe a bad game, was autopiloting a little bit maybe. Didn't think enough about the Lee Sin Annie combo and like the wave mechanics early on. And I think that's ultimately what necked him this game. So, because at this point, I saw some shenanigans. I went through the game very quickly before I did the recording. And this is what happened. So, Twitch runs mid lane. This is weird, because first of all, if Twitch runs mid lane and Jace assumes that Twitch can handle the Annie or just hold here, then Jace shouldn't go top lane. He should go bot lane to help Milio hold this turret down and make sure that the enemy bot lane doesn't get any plates. So I don't know why Jace is right now positioning towards top lane. Also, Twitch is level 4 versus level 6 Annie. I don't know why, well, like with the big wave and her ult, I don't know why Twitch thinks he can handle the Annie here. Maybe he's tilted. He's already like 1-6 in the bot lane together with his support. So he's probably running it at this point. So then this happens, right? But it doesn't make sense that Jace goes top lane here. Maybe he's tilted as well. I don't know. But he should have, at least like he could have already sensed that Twitch is not going to hold that. So he might as well gone to this turret here. Also, he should have been bot lane to help protect this, because now look at like Milio, she can't play the game. Don't know if she's gonna die here, but so she can't play the game here. Enemy team is gonna take plates, and Jace is top lane for something that like for the Ornn who's already dead, so he can't really do a lot here. He shoves in the wave, but Camille had teleport, so it wasn't really necessary. So at this point, all we're seeing is just like a couple of shenanigans. But at this point, like the game is already very out of control for the enemy team, and this is basically what you want to prevent. And the goal of this, laning phase, like the goal of this recording, is basically to show you, look how quick games can like go bad. I'm not saying this is completely game over. It's not going to look good, and Jace isn't going to win the game. But at this point, the game isn't completely over. It's not looking good, but it isn't completely over. But this does show that basically not having an intention or a game plan with your wave, not thinking enough, autopiloting a little bit too much, can actually cause your game to really quickly escalate and get out of hand, right? And that is basically like what I found out with this review here, and hopefully you guys find it out as well, like hopefully you understand everything I covered. But ultimately Jace should have done a 2-wave crash, and it would have helped him a lot more in terms of like feeling like more, being able to control the wave more, controlling the mid lane more, keeping Annie a bit more into the lane and stuff. Because Annie did not only this roam here, but she also did like a little bit earlier a roam onto the map. It didn't result into anything, but still, you can't give people like that too much freedom, especially when paired with a Lee Sin jungle, right? If you are playing against a Lee Sin, always think, it is my job to make sure that I don't die to Lee Sin. Like, even if I can make plays, maybe I should play a bit more reserved, because if Lee Sin doesn't get anything early, he's going to become useless, right? So that is, I think, where Jace went a little bit wrong with like his wave control. But nothing new anymore at this point. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys learned something from it. It was especially nice for me, because this is my current ELO that I'm playing in. I'm playing in basically, and against, Jesus Christ, I can't talk anymore. But this is basically the current ELO that I'm playing in, and it was very fun to like review a game in the same ELO that I was not into the game, but still like to see how other mid laners in this ELO play. But yeah, that we came up with quite some conclusions. So hopefully you guys found this useful. I found it very, very fun. And if you want to see more videos like this, leave a like and subscribe, and obviously tell me into the comments. Tell me in the comments. Let me know if you want to see more content like this. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.